Okay, so this is the group discussion, and I'll be providing you a topic for GD. But before that, let me tell you the three parts of group discussion. The first part, I'll be giving you a topic and 2 minutes to think on that topic. You will be thinking about that topic, and after that, I'll come to each one of you, and you will get an opportunity to introduce the topic to rest of the members. In actual, it may be that everyone may get opportunity to initiate the topic, or it may be that only one fellow initiate the topic. But we will do practice that we introduce. Each one of us will do practice that if I get opportunity to initiate the discussion, what I should speak. So that is called introduction part. And introduction part, you know, there are some standard format how you are to introduce the topic and what you have to say about the topic. That thing is there in the introduction. So each one of you will practice with me for introduction. Then after everybody introduces, I'll open the house for discussion among all of you, in which you guys will discuss with one another about the topic. That will be for 10 minutes. I may extend it to 15 minutes for your practice. If I find that you are practicing, I may stretch it more than 10 minutes, but in actuality, it is 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And then third part is conclusion. So in the conclusion, again, you will get opportunity to conclude, each one of you, for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. Now, what is expected from you is, number one, you should speak. In the last year, public sector mein, GDs and GTs have been conducted in Hindi as well as English, both. So as per your region which you are from, maybe you will go to the GD in your own region, like South India, North India, something like that. So there people speak majority languages, South mein English, North mein Hindi, something like that. You may practice both with me. You can practice in Hindi also as well as in English also. And then you should always try to learn that I am to speak. I am to remove the hesitation and I am to speak. Speaking is not related to knowledge. Even if you do not know much about the topic, even then you can contribute effectively and pass the GD. Passing GD is very important. Getting marks in GD may not give you an edge, but passing GD is very important because otherwise you may get eliminated. Conclusion part is something which is the easiest. Why? Because you have to just conclude what has been discussed and what others have given the points. That is called conclusion part, which is the easiest. Now the person who passed the GD, he actually is the person who speaks, number one. Number two, he is interested in talking with others. He is listening to others and giving his points also, and is very active in the discussion. And you can make your GD very effective by, by giving examples, by, quoting some kind of statistics, data, but it should not be wrong, by asking questions to others, by narrating something interesting to others. So these are some of the tricks by which you can, score really good in the GD. That with practice you will learn. Now, because GD is something which is purely related to practice, there are students in 4 to 5 GDs, they practice very well and they become. Yes, Pooja.
सर ये लेक्चरर के लिए नहीं है?
नहीं, ये GD अभी ग्रुप डिस्कशन चल रहा है पूजा.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is how this is basically to be done, right? This is all about the GD. Any question you want to ask me, and then I can give you a topic and we can start thinking over that topic and we can start participating. Ravali, you need to be visible for GD. Everyone needs to be visible for GD. Yeah, any question you have before I give you the topic and then you can think. So are we ready now? Okay. So please write the topic. Future of e-vehicles in India. Please write the topic. Future of e-vehicles in India. And believe me, you know the things, you know the topic sufficient enough to participate in discussion. So I give you 2 minutes each. You can think, you can jot down the points. Then I'm going to come to each one of you and we start the topic, this discussion. Okay, so now I start with Nilendra Pandey. Nilendra, please go ahead and introduce the topic. Yes.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Nilendra, and today I'm taking the opportunity to introduce a very interesting topic, which is the future of electric vehicles in India. I think this topic is of current relevance because right now we are concerned about two things majoritarily in the world. The first one is the climate change that is happening. The glaciers are melting and the temperatures are rising, and we all know that vehicles are one of the most common source of pollution. So vehicular pollution is one of the major things that we need to take into consideration. Also, during these times, there is a considerable rise in the petrol prices. So the petrol prices are fluctuating all over the world. So although all these things have forced us to think about an sustainable alternative that can be the electric vehicle. So I think, friends, we should categorize this topic and we should move forward in this way. That first of all, we should discuss that why we are looking towards electrical vehicles as their alternative. Is it because of the climate change, or because of the petrol prices, or because of the economy, or whatever it can be? The second classification can be the challenges that are associated with the electrical vehicles in India, because India is not a very large producer of electrical vehicles. India is not a very big producer of lithium-ion battery, which is used in India. The technology is not very advanced in India. There are not many charging points. So there are very challenges, very much challenges. We can discuss about it. And the third one is the solutions. How can we move forward in this direction of having electric vehicles in India? How should we increase our manufacturing, and how should we deal with this problem? So I think if in this direction, with this classification, we move on, we can have a very constructive decision. So now I would like to open the house for discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Now I think we can start with Vinayak.
Good morning, friends. Now, myself, Manak Singh, and I take this opportunity to start the discussion. So, what I think that the topic given is very interesting, and also it is a topic of current relevance, as we are seeing that there is a trend nowadays that more and more of electric vehicles are coming nowadays in the market. So we have to think about what are the reasons behind these kind of technology being emerged, and what are the problem associated with the technology, that how can we bring the technology in the perspective of Indian markets. Basically, there are some challenges associated with electric vehicles, and I think we should talk about the things which are creating problems in the installation, and how can we implement these things, because as our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also is also focusing on the target, given that net zero target is being tried to achieve, and in this scheme, the involvement of electric vehicle is going to take a very major play a very major role. So I think that we should discuss about how we can make it cost effective, so that more and more people can buy it, and also different kind of schemes which are being discussed by the government and are given to the people, so that they can afford the electric vehicles, and how can we increase the charging point, and how can we make it more efficient. So I would like to start the discussion among all.
Okay. Now I go to Rajat Sharma.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rajesh Sharma. I'm glad to have the opportunity to start the group discussion. Today's topic for group discussion is future of EV. As we know, this topic is a very current relevance nowadays, as we have seen the temperature rise and climate change. First, we should categorize this topic in two categories. Why EVs? What are the possible reasons that we are switching to EVs? First is climate change and depleting fossil fuels, and other one is pollution. And second category will be then how can we make the transition very smooth? Like in past few days, we all must have seen the cases of vehicles catching fire. There are some technological lag, and in India also there is one more challenge, is that the temperature is very high, and the batteries which are produced for extra outer countries are not suitable for India. So some technological design modification is also required. So I would like to encourage all of you to participate in the discussion.
Okay. Now Satyam.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Satyam Mahajan, and today I am glad to introduce the topic given to us, the future of electric vehicles in India. So, the topic is of current relevance and creating quite a buzz around in the present times. So, the main reason the uh, for the promotion of electric vehicles in our country is because of the climate change. As we can see, there is instances of uh, various climate disasters that are not quite frequent in some areas. So the all of these is because of the climate change. And as our Prime Minister promised during the COP26 meeting in the Glasgow, that India will reduce carbon emissions by 1 billion tons by 2030. So in order to achieve the target, e-vehicles can play a very important role as vehicles contribute a major part in the pollution. So I think the discussion among us should be focused on the advantages and the disadvantages of electric vehicles in the current scenario, and we should discuss the solutions in order to minimize the disadvantages that are present right now. So I would like to open the house for discussion. Thank you.
Okay, now Humayun.
Yes, sir. Hello everyone. I am Unse. I am very much glad to take the opportunity to start this GD. The topic which was given to us, that is future of e-vehicles in India. So this is a topic of current relevance, and I know you guys may be having some very good points to contribute. And I think we should categorize this topic into some points, like what is the main cause of these electrical vehicles, like. Because of this pollution, we are facing so many issues like global warming and heat wave. So as the main reason of this pollution is the IC engine vehicle, and because of this IC engine vehicles, the pollution is increased. So that is why we should think about the electrical vehicle, but we have to think about the current challenges which as we are now able to accept this electrical vehicle or not, because as the charging power station is less in India, and the main source of the electrical vehicles, like we should require lithium battery, so we should not have that much source of this lithium battery. So we have so many challenges, and that is why we should try to reduce these challenges, and we should look for this electrical vehicles so that the pollution can be reduced, as well as the effect of this pollution gets reduced. So now I welcome you all to come forward and put your valuable points on it.
Okay, Shubham.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shubham Savle. I'm glad to start the discussion. Today's topic is future of EVs in India. It is a very current relevance topic and also today's need for India actually. And EV. First thing is why we are talking about EV. Main thing. The main two things is like we are talking because of pollution. Because out of 10 cities of world, 6 cities are of India, which is the highest pollution level. And second thing is rising the prices of our fuels and this thing. Because 84% of our fuel, crude oil, we are importing from other countries. That is the thing. And also we can the thing we can categorize this topic as for the challenges and opportunities, like for each one of us, like for government perspective and for the perspective of individual, like what are the challenges for the government, like they have the challenges like infrastructure and these things challenges, and what are the opportunities, like government can reduce the pollution by introducing EVs. This type of things we can discuss, and I invite all of you to participate in the discussion.
Okay. So I think everybody has participated now in the introduction. Everybody has introduced the topic. And now we are entering into the second part, which is a discussion among all of you. And this will be for 10 to 15 minutes. So just a couple of minutes before, I will intimate you for this conclusion. And then after that, you can conclude, each one of you. So now I open the house for discussion among all of you. Please go ahead now.
Okay, so friends, first let
Okay,
us
friends.
try to discuss why we are trying to look towards electrical vehicles. We all agreed for one thing, and a friend of mine said that our Prime Minister had told in COP26 that we are going to reduce our carbon emissions. And nobody can deny that vehicular pollution is one of the main reasons of carbon emission. The second reason is that fossil fuels are not available for every time, because one day they'll get depleted. So I think these two are the main reasons why we are looking for the electrical vehicles. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you.
I want to
I
add
also
something.
consider the
You are
same.
trying to
Agree
say
with
is
you.
correct,
Also-
but the main problem with the e-vehicles is that how can we manage the kind of battery charging point which are required in India? Basically, there are very few charging points, and also
Yes.
the cost of EVs
Yes,
are very
yes.
high. So we have to first think of some schemes that can make the electric vehicles come into the
Yeah,
market
yeah,
and slowly and slowly
Yeah,
cost can
I
be-
wa-
Yeah,
Yes,
this
I
is a
want to.
relevant point.
I totally agree with
Like
you.
for this
but-
electrical vehicle, the government should give subsidies so that the people who look for buying cars, so they can also buy electrical vehicles, because its cost is as high. So a government should take a step so that the electrical vehicle, the cost of this electrical vehicle gets reduced, and we should think about the electrical vehicle instead of the IC engine vehicle.
Yes,
Yes, I
Humayun,
want to add. Yes,
for
Humayun,
that the
I want to add
government.
few points that there are some of the challenges that first need to be catered. First is the cost of EV, and second one is that the subsidy, that some subsidy should be provided by the government to the customers. And in nowadays, the government is only the buyer of the EVs. We must encourage the public to buy the EVs, and the last one is the infrastructure. That charging infrastructure need to be
Yeah,
developed.
yeah,
And
Yes,
I
I
totally agree
with
that
you that
government is
there
doing
are
some
some
steps, and
challenges.
it is taking some steps like that. So first few people are allowed to buy the EVs at a very low cost. So government is taking steps, but it has to implement more such kind of schemes so that the people can buy that.
Yeah,
Yes,
now
yes,
the
one way
current
to reduce
situation,
Yes,
the
I
cost,
agree
one
with
very
that.
important
The
way to
current
reduce the cost
basis
is that
for
like
electric
the
vehicles is
electric
high,
vehicle
One more
and
thing I want to
there
add
has
that
to be
if
some
you will
measures
make
taken
it
in order
in
to
India
reduce the
under the Make in
prices.
India scheme, the technology will get cheaper and the prices will themselves come down.
but
Yes.
now the
Yes,
current
that-
situation is like that. If we think about the long distance journey, so we cannot think about electrical vehicle, because there is no sufficient charging point. So if we
For that also, I think
Yes, this is
start
also one of the
integrating
main
this,
issues.
introduce
changeable of battery,
it will
the
be very difficult for
we
us.
can charge the batteries at
Adopt
some
this
point, and
technology.
we can take that battery and install that in our vehicles. So these kind of things can be done. They
Yes.
do not
Yes,
require
yes.
a charge.
Yeah, I agree with
Yes.
you that there
Yes,
is a
I
lack
agree
of
with that.
charging infrastructure in the country for electric vehicles, but we should focus on the main point that for charging infrastructure also we need electricity. So if we produce electricity using fossil fuels, that will contribute in the same way that we are using diesel vehicles. So first of all, in order to promote electric vehicles, we should promote green energy, so that the electricity that is produced is because of renewable energy, so that doesn't compensate that we erase away the diesel vehicles, but we are producing more carbon emissions due to electricity generation.
Yes,
Yeah.
So in
Yeah,
order
yeah,
to
yeah, I
promote
agree
new
with
points,
you,
vehicles,
but,
Point
first-
also
first-
that there is a very
Switching to
large
green
amount of
energy.
emissions are being created due to the steam generation. But steam plants are contributing around
Yes,
44% of
yes.
pollution, and these vehicles are promoting only around 4 to 5% of. They are contributing only these amount of pollution. So basically, we have to think about that also, that how we can reduce the consumption of coal and these kind of fuels to generate the electricity.
yeah,
and
that
the
is why we
government is
should
moving
think
in
about
that
because we
path,
cannot
because very
divert
large
to
number of
highlight one
hybrid
point
and solar
that
power
from
plants are
in
being
past few
created.
days,
to the power
Right now,
government has
the largest
introduced a
floating
battery
solar
switching
power plant is being
battery.
created in Telangana. So I think those steps will lead to the reduced
Yes,
pollution.
in
this
past
can
few
be
days, the government
reduced
has also
because
introduced a battery swapping policy that
Yes.
will must switch over or accelerate the growth of EVs in India.
and that is why you can think about the hybrid mode cars, like which will be
Like-
electrical vehicle, as well as it should be operated by a petrol also. Then the electrical vehicles will be turned, and the IC engine vehicle will be turned smoothly into electrical vehicle, and we can think about the hybrid
To reduce
mode.
the problem
So
of charging
Yes.
ports.
Yes,
Yes,
all these problems are well known, but in order to promote electric vehicles, we have to create awareness among the common citizens of India. So we have to make them aware that although the initial investment in electric vehicles is high, their prices is high, But in the long term, the overall performance for electric vehicles is much greater than those of diesel vehicles or petrol vehicles. And also the crude import that the money that is spent on crude oil import is much higher, around $100 billion per year. So in order to reduce that cost, we have to promote electric vehicles, as it will create a cascading effect and reduce the prices of some other essential commodities. So in this promotion of electric vehicles,
I want to add one more thing to Satyam's point, that he compared the EV with the normal diesel vehicle. I want to add one data that for 1 kilometer, like Tata Motor vehicle is using around, it costs 13 rupees, and for diesel vehicle it costs around 25 rupees. Around
the cost
double.
is the
cost reduction in EV is very less.
The cost is high in EV because of
the
source is less.
Starting cost is high
because we have to buy everything from China, like elements and this. That is the thing, the cost.
The source,
because for electric vehicles we need
first
of all
two things.
one is the semiconductor that is there required in
and
the
lithium ion
circuit,
battery second in.
So lithium we import from China, and semiconductors we are taking from countries like Argentina. So recently the government has also signed a memorandum of understanding with countries like Argentina so that they can import more lithium, and they have also told some PSUs to extract lithium or semiconductor silicon wherever they are available in India. So if we are able to do that, there will be a considerable cost reduction in that. And moreover, if the companies like Tesla, they come to India and manufacture the vehicles here, then it will be very cheap for the buyers in Indian market, and then there will be a considerable rise in the electric vehicles in the Indian market by automatically, I think.
And that is why the government should take any steps so that the electrical vehicles company can come in India and they can produce electrical vehicles. And the cost should be also less because of the subsidy provided by government. So government should also think about this.
I think the
India is a very great market.
Many state government already introduced like this subsidy, like many state government introduced this subsidy schemes, like for up to 1 lakh electric
more and more investors and other foreign companies can come and invest in India, because India is a very great hub for vehicle manufacturing companies. So we should try to increase these investment, and that will boost the economy of our country also. And that's why the company like IOCL is also increasing the number of points, charging points. They are establishing more and more points like that. And if infrastructure is ready, then I think that people will be also able to think over that direction, that yes, we have now these much of facilities and infrastructure established so that they can buy and move forward in this.
Yes, I agree with you, but adding to your point, I feel that in order to promote electric vehicles, first of all, there should be a focus on the current problems, like we have instances of electric vehicles catching fire. So in order to promote electric vehicles, first of all, the manufacturers have to solve this issue so that there is an interest built up in the general public in order to purchase electric vehicles. Until the general public is not convinced that electric vehicles is the future, I don't think whatever the charging infrastructure or whatever schemes government introduce, they will reap any benefit. So in order to promote the vehicles, first of all, the general public has to
government can do is
convinced.
One thing that government can do is to provide safety guidelines for electric vehicles and put penalty on the manufacturers, that if such a thing happens, that their vehicles catch fire, or if there is any kind of such mishappening, then the manufacturers will have to pay penalty. So in that way, the security
Nilendra, I think the government cannot do like this. This will, I think it will oppose. It will disencourage the manufacturers.
These kind of technology. Basically, we can do that. We should ask them to first check their technologies and then introduce it in the market. Because if the image of the company is hit by these kind of instances, then definitely people are not going to purchase these kind of vehicles. So yes, we can say them, but we can't just put penalties. Initially, we can't put penalties.
I agree with you, because
I think that some safety standards should be introduced for electric vehicles also.
Yeah, if any kind of penalties exist there, then people will think that there would be some possibility of getting fired or something like that. That what can happen. So people generally will not buy this kind of thing. So there should not be any kind of guidelines, but the company.
But there is
also
already a guidelines
thing.
that the government has issued in the few days earlier, that there should be mandatory. It is mandatory to put airbags. So I'm saying that if that kind of mandatory guidelines are there, the companies will be bound to do that. Otherwise, in case of making profits, the company will not pay towards
guidelines should be there, but penalty should not be there.
Equipment to make.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
yeah, I agree with you.
Fine. We can remove the penalty, but
And
guidelines
there
We
should
should
be-
take
there
actions
should be-
upon the
there should be
company who is
guideline
making
for
these
the
kind of
company.
vehicles, and what was the reason behind these kind of fires which were being caught. So we should think about the reasons. If the company is using the material which is not that much efficient, and that was the reason, then definitely a fine penalty should be imposed on the companies, so that in future
some
these kind of
R&D
incidents
need
should not
some
take place.
R&D need to be done, because the batteries which are manufactured here are not suitable for high temperature that is there in India. So some R&D need to be
for
done.
that there should be a R&D. Yeah, right. There should be R&D so that they get any kind of certification that if they get this certificate, then only they can promote this car, or they can
Yes, the government
This should also be checked in the local atmosphere, local
certification.
conditions. What are the local conditions that are prevailing in our country? We can't just bring the technology that is being used in the other countries and say similar kind of situation is not there in India. We are in India also, there is load on the vehicles are also very high. We tend to put a lot of amount of load on the vehicle. So these kind of situation have to be thought beforehand, so that according to Indian market, the facility can be provided.
Yes, I think that's why there is a much more focus upon the Make in India scheme rather than importing electric vehicles from outside, so that the vehicles meet the conditions of our own country rather than some other country.
So that they are compatible with Indian markets, Indian road conditions.
So now I think we can go for conclusion. We can go for conclusion, and I start with Nalendra only. Nalendra, please conclude the entire session now.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to conclude. So I think we had a very constructive decision. Everybody agreed that there is a considerable need of electric vehicles in India because of the pollution and because of the fossil fuels. And we discussed the following points, that to promote the electric vehicles, we should do awareness of the people. People should get more aware about the electric vehicles. The second thing is that the company should focus on their R&D, so that the mishappenings like the vehicles are catching fire, these things should not happen. And India should also look towards the alternatives of producing semiconductors and lithium-ion batteries that are not available with India. And to do that, we can promote the Make in India scheme, so that vehicles are manufactured in India and they can be compatible with Indian roads and markets. So thank you.
Okay, now I think we go to Vinayak.
Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to conclude the GD. What I think that we all agreed upon some points, that yes, there is a need of electric vehicles in India, but the thing is that for looking on the alternate thing is not just the correct approach. That we have to think about the thing that pollution is being created due to the steam power plants also. Like one of my friends said that yes, only vehicles are not creating these kind of problems. And also we discussed upon the point that there is need of the infrastructure, and for that government has to implement some more schemes, and the cost of EVs should be reduced, and we should think about the mishappenings that are taking place in the EVs, and we should look of the solution, what kind of problems that are being created in the EVs due to the and also we have to look about how we can implement that schemes in India. And according to that, we have to reduce the fuel emissions and we have to reach the target of net zero. But for that, we have to look how we can efficiently introduce these electric vehicles in the market, and the image of the manufacturers which are producing these kind of things, they should not hamper, so that public will have trust on the EVs, and ultimately these kind of technologies, which are the future of the coming days, can be implemented. So
okay, Rajat.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So I would like to conclude the discussion. Though all of us have very good discussion, and we also we could reach to some consensus. So first, there are some challenges that need to be catered. First is charging infrastructure. Second is some R&D need to be done. And third is the government must promote the Make in India scheme, and some standard policies should be there regarding the safety of EVs, so that it will encourage the customers to buy these EVs, as some mishappenings related to the EVs catching fire incident will discourage them from doing so. And so this is all from my side.
Okay, then we go to Satyam.
So, friends, we all had a very fruitful discussion regarding the future of electric vehicles in India. And most of us agree on the thing that electric vehicles are necessary in order to tackle climate change as well as to reduce the crude oil imports in India. But at the current position, there are some disadvantages and challenges of electric vehicles, like the high cost and the lack of charging infrastructure. So in order to address these issues, the primary solutions should be people-centric, so that the people are are encouraged in order to buy electric vehicles. Also, there should be a focus on promoting green energy, so that the carbon emissions that we seek to erase from vehicular pollution is not compensated by the fossil fuel power plants. And also, in order to also there is a need to phase out the diesel vehicles gradually rather than at a sudden, so that the people are also accepting the electric vehicles. So that's all. Thank you.
Okay, now we go to Mayu.
Yes, sir. So we had a very fruitful discussion, and now we have come to some specific top points, like we need these electrical vehicles, but now there are some challenges, like the cost is very high, and this cost will be reduced by a certain scheme which will be which will be taken by government, and so that they gives some specific subsidy, so that the customers gets interested in buying these electrical vehicle cars. And there are some issue, like because of this battery, it catches fire, so there should be a proper certification by some R&D, so that the people doesn't get fear to buy this vehicle. And as the charging station in India is not that much, so the charging station also should be high. And this is all about.
Okay, now Shubham.
Okay, friends, I take the opportunity to conclude the discussion. We had a very good discussion. As everyone agreed that we had a problem of this pollution and this rising of prices. So everyone agreed we have to change a smooth transition towards the EVs. So we raised some points, like everyone raised some points, like we have to discuss R&D to develop R&D projects in India, and for alternative of the this lithium-ion battery, and also the semiconductor which we use in the electric vehicles. And also we have for things related, like the fire catching the vehicles catching the fire. For that we have to mention some ways to create some policies regarding safety guidelines, and that's it from my side.
Okay, so now I think everybody has spoken, everybody has concluded. So let me now give you the feedback and what can be the best answer for this topic. These are some of the expected topics, and you will get many topics on panel of YourPedia which are relevant topic for group discussion, which can be asked. So current relevant topics and generic topic. So आप panel पे जाना और वहाँ पे relevant videos पड़ी हैं उनको सुनना, and see that those topics, at least you know couple of points related to those topics. Like e-vehicle is important topic, तो उससे related आपको पता होना चाहिए, because these are the topics they normally ask. But more than that, I think you should practice yourself so that you become good in discussion. That part is more important. Now, before I tell you what kind of the best topic, I'll give you the feedback to each one of you. Though normally in the first discussion, marks and all should not be given, but I'll give you, and I'll tell you who passed and who failed in this GD today. So I'll be dividing this entire into three parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. में कितने marks आपको मिले? 7.5 is good. मतलब ठीक है, तुम्हारा level अच्छा है उस case में. If you get 7.5, level is good. You are ready to go. 7 is good level. 6.5, you are very close. You need to prepare. 6 is basic level, जहाँ से start कर रहे हो, और 6 से कम मतलब बहुत अभी तुम्हें improve करने की requirement है. Less than 6 you should not get. you do not pass at less than 7. At 7, I pass someone, not less than 7. So that is something which is required. And 6 is basic level. You are trying, you have to go for that. Now, Nilendra ko I'll give 7.5 in introduction. Nilendra ka introduction acha tha. Body and conclusion mein I will give 7 marks to Nilendra. So 7.5 if you get in all these, that means you are ready for GD and you can go. So from my side, Nilendra ko introduction ke liye acha mila hai 7.5 and then 7 for body and conclusion. Conclusion जल्दी से खत्म कर दिया, बाकियों का जो points थे वो थोड़े से कम रखे गए. Body में भी discussion किया है, लेकिन it was very good, but it was not 7.5 category. Vinayak ko I'll give 6.5 in introduction, 7 in body and 7.5 in conclusion. Vinayak का conclusion was good. तो विनायक ने टाइम लेके कंक्लूजन किया और उस तरीके से उसने अच्छा कंक्लूजन मारा विनायक ने. बॉडी में भी विनायक पार्टिसिपेट करता रहा, बट इंट्रोडक्शन विनायक बहुत अच्छा नहीं कर पाया. जैसे नीलेंद्र का अगर मैं बताऊं तो नीलेंद्र ने इंट्रोडक्शन में बोला करंटली रेलिवेंट टॉपिक है और इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है. He mentioned about pollution issues, petrol prices issue, and he could divide the topic into categories. Okay, why e-vehicle and alternate are there, challenges of e-vehicle and solution, what solution should be there. So he could categorize the topic कि हमें discussion करना क्या है. That's the reason Narendra got this thing. Vinayak on the other hand was talking in introduction certain things which were not making sense actually there. वो बातें बता रहा था जो बॉडी की बातें होनी चाहिए, जैसे नेट जीरो कार्बन की बात कर रहा था, क्या चैलेंजेस हैं और रेलिवेंट टॉपिक है. क्लासिफिकेशन नहीं दे पाया विनायक. रजत को I will give 6, 6 and 6. All these three I will give 6. He could categorize that why electric vehicle are required and we should produce it in India because India में temperature ज़्यादा होता है, suitable for India. So abruptly he finished the introduction part, Rajat. So classification उस तरीके से was not very effective from Rajat's side. Satyam ko I'll give 7, 7 and 7 in all these three categories, and he could divide advantage and disadvantage, and we should minimize the disadvantage of e-vehicle. So what are the advantage and what are disadvantage? Disadvantage as such कुछ नहीं, challenge है वो. So don't use the term disadvantage. What are the opportunities, what are the challenges, and how to overcome the challenges? That can be the topic. No, not advantage and disadvantage. Humayun ko I'll give 6, 6 and 6 in all these three domains. He said it is a current relevant topic and charging power station is problem, lithium batteries etc. he talked about. लेकिन हुमायूं वो बात इंट्रोडक्शन में बोल रहा है जो बॉडी में बोलनी चाहिए. You should be very clear what is to be said in introduction, what is to be said in body, what is to be said in conclusion. That should be very clearly said. Otherwise, there is a mixing. And then Shubham ko I'll give 6, 6 and 6 in all these three sections. I'll give 6 marks each. Shubham, he said highly polluted cities India के अंदर हैं और 83% क्रूड ऑयल हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं. तो शुभम जो था वो डाटा दे रहा है, लेकिन डाटा को कभी भी इंट्रोडक्शन में नहीं दिया जाता, डाटा को दिया जाता है बॉडी में. तो ये जो आप डाटा दे रहे थे कि यू सी अमंग ऑल द पोल्यूटिंग कंट्रीज इन द टॉप 10 कंट्रीज सिटीज जो हैं वर्ल्ड में, दे आर फ्रॉम इंडिया. टॉप 10 में इंडिया की कितनी सिटीज हैं. So that data statistics is useful, but that is in the body. Introduction and conclusion में data statistics examples are not given. Introduction में you have to give holistic perspective and categorization. Overall थोड़ा सा बोलना होता है, data नहीं चलता introduction में, तो वो आपको avoid करना है. Then he said okay challenges and opportunities में classify कर दिया उसने उसको शुभम ने, but शुभम ने बीच में भी कम बोला है. तो अगर मेरे को इसमें पास करना होगा तो मैं नीलेंद्र, विनायक और सत्यम को पास करूंगा. नीलेंद्र, विनायक एंड सत्यम, बाकी तीन इस जीडी में पास नहीं होंगे. So you need to improve, you need to speak. But अच्छी बात ये थी कि all of you have participated. मतलब जो observer है वो आपके ग्रुप से he will be happy. And maybe कि तीन लोगों को पास करने के बजाय वो 4 को 5 को कर दे, तो ऐसा भी हो सकता है. Because if entire group has participated and spoken and constructive चीजें आई हैं बाहर, तो ज्यादा लोगों को भी पास कर सकता है वो. And that is what has happened in your group. So group आपका अच्छा था और आपने बातें की हैं. And you guys can improve very well and just stick to the top this thing, some kind of structure which we have in GD, उसको stick करो और जो current topics हैं थोड़े से उनको go through करते रहो. ये topics हमारे 20-50 topic होते हैं. Majority of these topics are kept on the panel of YourPedia. Just start going through that and I will be providing you more topics also. Just keep on doing that and आपका preparation हो जाएगा. Now see what best introduction would have been that, like friends, the topic given to us is today e-vehicles, a very very relevant topic, interesting topic as well, and we must discuss on this. This is the buzzword and everybody is talking about the e-vehicle. So I'm very sure all of us have important points to contribute here. So friends, I think we should take our discussion in the direction of following points, so we can categorize the discussion into number one. What do we actually mean by e-vehicle? Everybody talks about e-vehicle, but what is e in that and what is the meaning of that? What is e-vehicle as such? And in that we should also discuss that why do we even need? We have vehicles, we have very competitive automobile market. So why do we even need e-vehicle? Because if we need e-vehicle, all the vehicles which are conventional crude oil based vehicles, they are to be removed and then new vehicles are to come. So why do we need it and what is the e-vehicle? That is number one. Number two, what are the various challenges associated with e-vehicles and what can be the solution to those challenges, as well as what are the opportunities for manufacturers, opportunities for individual players, stakeholders. So what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, and to overcome the challenges, what government should do and what manufacturers should do, what we have to do in that. So let's discuss this entire topic in that category. अब जब आपने इसको ओपन कर दिया तो होता क्या है, ई व्हीकल उसको डिफाइन कर दो बॉडी पार्ट में. फ्रेंड्स, नो आई थिंक लेट मी डिफाइन फर्स्ट व्हाट इज ई इन दैट. Maybe that is more relevant. What is E in that? I will define what is E and then we go forward. And उसके बाद ये हमें चाहिए कि two main reasons. One is climate change, pollution, climate change. वहां पे जो आपने डाटा देना है, स्टैटिस्टिक्स देना, वो दे दो कि जो मोस्ट पोल्यूटिंग कंट्रीज, जो सिटीज हैं वो इंडिया में आती हैं और हमारा कार्बन लेवल बहुत बढ़ गया है, क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग हो रही है, इस बार बहुत ज्यादा टेम्परेचर बढ़ रहा है, वेदर फिनोमेना चेंज हो रहा है अलार्मिंग रेट के ऊपर. एंड दूसरा कि हमें क्रूड ऑयल इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है. इंडिया इज अ कंट्री वेयर 80% ऑफ द क्रूड ऑयल वी आर इंपोर्टिंग एंड ऑल. वो दूसरा रीजन आप दे सकते हैं. एंड थर्ड, कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज की जो मीटिंग हुई थी उसमें प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज ऑलरेडी कमिटेड दैट by 2030 this much we are using this, by 2070 net carbon zero we will attain. So वो आप उसमें दे दो why do we need. अब आता है challenges and opportunity. So friends, let me tell you about the challenges first. Yes, the biggest challenge is the manufacturing of e-vehicles in India. India is a very huge country, 1.3 billion people and huge market. So manufacturing, we cannot depend only upon foreign manufacturer. So our companies should manufacture it. We need lot of manpower, skilled manpower for that. Number two, we need other things also, technology dependent technologies like lithium ion batteries and all these things we cannot import. We need that. Safety things are to be kept in order. Government is to provide the conducive environment and policies. Safety features should be incorporated. They cannot be catching the fire. It can be life threatening. So that thing also is to be taken care of. Charging infrastructure is to be created. Huge charging infrastructure is to be created. तो उसके साथ साथ solution भी देते जाना कि जो public sectors हैं, they have to change their role now. Charging infrastructure provide करना, तो public sector can provide that and all. Local manufacturer की बात कर सकते हैं हम कि हमारे पास companies हैं already competitive हैं. They have to change their production line. जो अभी manufacturing companies हैं, टाटास हो गए, हीरोज हो गए, hyundais हो गए, जो भी है वो उनको अपना production line change करना है. वो challenges होंगे. फिर कॉस्ट एक क्राइटेरिया है. इंडियन के लिए कॉस्ट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्राइटेरिया. तो कॉस्ट हम कितने रख सकते हैं. गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज की बात करेंगे फिर हम कि गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज उसमें कैसे होंगी. एंड इंडियन कंडीशंस के लिए हमें ये ई व्हीकल्स बनाने पड़ेंगे. इंडिया इज अ हॉट एंड ह्यूमिड कंट्री, तो उस कंडीशंस के लिए हमें इसको बनाना पड़ेगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट. एंड देन अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरर, फॉर इंडिया के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि अगर हमारा डिपेंडेंस ऑन क्रूड ऑयल कम हो जाएगा तो हमारा इंपोर्ट कम हो जाएगा, तो वी कैन यूटिलाइज दैट रिसोर्स समवेयर एल्स, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ समवेयर एल्स. सो वो अपॉर्चुनिटीज है इंडिया के आगे. तो ऐसे आप उसको पूरे को डेवलप करोगे और उसमें बात भूलोगे फिर बाद में. सो द गुड थिंग इज लाइक यू शुड स्पीक एंड द सेकंड इज स्ट्रक्चर को थोड़ा फॉलो करो. स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो किया, बोलते गए और वो करते जाओगे तो आप पास हो जाओगे. दैट इज फॉर श्योर. देयर आर सम क्रिकेटर्स हु फॉलो द सिस्टम, सिस्टमेटिक खेलते हैं. वो हर मैच में 30-40 रन बना लेंगे. इसका मतलब वो कंट्रीब्यूट कर देंगे, वो फेल नहीं होंगे. फेल मतलब जीरो पे आउट नहीं होंगे, ठीक है, 100 भी नहीं बने लेकिन जीरो पे भी आउट नहीं होंगे. इफ यू आर प्लेइंग विद स्किल एंड योर प्रॉपर टैक्टिक्स, तो आप आउट नहीं होंगे. वैसे ही जीडी के अंदर अगर आप पूरा स्ट्रक्चर फॉलो कर रहे हो, बोलना है मेरे को, बॉडी में ऐसे बोलना है, बीच में ऐसे बोलना है, कंक्लूजन में ऐसे बोलना है, तो आप पास हो जाओगे, आप फेल नहीं होंगे जीडी के अंदर. उसके बाद मार्क्स कैसे आते हैं वो आपकी अपनी प्रैक्टिस है. द मोर द प्रैक्टिस यू डू, बेटर इट इज फॉर यू. अब कुछ फीडबैक तो मेरी ओर से होता है, बाकी आपने ये जो जीडी है इसको खुद भी सुनना है अपना. यू हैव टू ऑब्जर्व दिस जीडी, यू हैव टू लिसन टू दिस जीडी. वी आर अपलोडिंग दिस जीडी फॉर NMDC. सो आपको इसको ये अपलोड हो जाएगा पैनल पे या चैनल पे, तो आपने उसको सुन के अपना देखना कि यार मैं कहाँ पे मिस्टेक कर रहा हूँ. सो यू हैव टू डू योर सेल्फ असेसमेंट ऑल्सो. लाइक आई सेड, नीलेंद्र ने बहुत अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन किया, तो सुनो उसने नीलेंद्र ने ऐसा क्या बोल दिया, व्हाई आई एम सेइंग इट इज गुड, एंड देन I think Vinayak got a 7.5 in the conclusion. So what Vinayak said in the conclusion, that you should see. So इस तरीके से you have to see how you can, think of improving yourself in this. So all from my side. Now anything you want to ask or tell?
सर अगर जैसे जीडी में हमको अगर इंट्रोडक्शन या कंक्लूजन दोनों ही करने का अगर चांस नहीं मिलता तो मतलब, और बॉडी में अगर हमें अच्छे पॉइंट्स दिए तो उसमें कितना फर्क पड़ जाएगा?
कोई ट्रबल नहीं आता। बहुत से ऐसे बच्चे हैं, इनफैक्ट 80% ऐसे बच्चे होते हैं जो पास होते हैं, जो ना तो इंट्रोडक्शन करते हैं ना कंक्लूजन करते हैं, लेकिन बॉडी में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं तो पास होते हैं। 80% बच्चा ऐसा होता है।
क्योंकि सर जैसे अभी वाली थी जो जीडी थी, तो उसमें अगर जैसे बॉडी में किसी ने एकदम अलग से पॉइंट दिया, जैसे मैंने दिया था कि ग्रीन एनर्जी पे फोकस करना चाहिए, ऐसा ना हो कि ईवी को प्रमोट करने के चक्कर में जहां से एमिशन कम करें और वहां से बढ़ा दें, तो मतलब ऐसा वो लोग नोटिस करते हैं?
हाँ बिल्कुल करते हैं। जब नई चीज आपने बोली है और अगर उनको पसंद आएगी तो बिल्कुल नोटिस करेंगे, उसका कंट्रीब्यूशन, उसका आपको वो भी मिलता है, यू गेट दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग। और कई बार तो इंटरव्यू में भी पूछता है कि आपने पॉइंट बोला था उसका क्या मीनिंग था, तो आगे इंटरव्यू में वही लेके जाता है। HPCL में ऐसा हुआ है। HPCL में जो GD लेने वाले लोग थे वही इंटरव्यू लेने वाले भी थे, तो उन्होंने बातें पूछी हैं। वो बिल्कुल होता है, इसका रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए।
तो अगर कुछ अननोन टॉपिक मिल जाए जीडी में तो कैसे उसको हैंडल करें?
So that is what I told you, like there is a how to start GD when you don't know the topic. Just listen to that video. That video is there on the YouTube. Listen to that video and then listen to other members what they are saying. Somebody must be knowing about the topic, and then take the clue from him, understand it, and then participate. If none of you know, then the observer changes the topic.
सर जैसे कि लास्ट टाइम मेरा फ्लो आप कह रहे थे बहुत स्लो बोल रहा था मैं, तो इस टाइम जब मैंने फास्ट बोलने की कोशिश करी तो फिर मेरा जो इंस्टेंट वर्ड आ नहीं रहे थे मेरे दिमाग में।
कोई नहीं, अब हिंदी वगैरह में भी ट्राई करो ना यार, हिंदी में बोलने की ट्राई करो, थोड़ी बोलने की ट्राई करो। एक अच्छा जो बोलने वाला है वो किसी भी लैंग्वेज में बोल सकता है, आप ट्राई करो। सो दैट पहली क्राइटेरिया हमारा ये कि वी शुड स्पीक, हम जो बताना चाहते हैं वो हम बता पाए। जैसे हॉस्टल में जब तुम किसी का डिस्कशन करते हो तो ये ट्रबल तुम्हें नहीं आएगा, अपने दोस्तों के साथ बात करोगे तब ट्रबल नहीं आएगा। यहाँ पे आ रहा है क्योंकि तुम इसको इस तरीके से ले रहे हो कि भाई साहब मैं जीडी में जा रहा हूँ। अगर तुम इसको वैसे ही रखोगे नहीं, या मेरे को अपनी बात रखनी है, मेरे को अपनी बात समझानी है उसको, तो तुम बहुत अच्छा बोल लोगे।
सर जैसे थोड़ा इंग्लिश में दिक्कत हो जाता है कि इंग्लिश में जैसे हिंदी में नॉर्मल बोल रहा हूँ तो उसमें ऐसे कोई फ्लो की दिक्कत नहीं होती, जो मैं बात रखना चाह रहा हूँ वो रख देता हूँ, लेकिन इंग्लिश में जब वो इंस्टेंट वर्ड नहीं आता मेरे दिमाग में, या
मैं वही तो बता रहा हूँ कि पब्लिक सेक्टर अगर तुम टारगेट कर रहे हो तो हिंदी में चलता है ना। पब्लिक सेक्टर में तो अगर पब्लिक सेक्टर टारगेट कर रहे हैं आप तो हिंदी में हो जाता है, तो कम से कम हिंदी में अपने आप को अच्छा तो कर ही लो कि वहां पे अगर 4-5 लड़के मिलके जो हिंदी में बोल रहे हैं तो अब तो तुम अच्छा कर ही लोगे। बाकी इंग्लिश में प्रैक्टिस करते रहो, सीखना आपको इंग्लिश भी चाहिए, बट हिंदी में तो ये कर लो कि हिंदी तो मेरे को अब आ गया, और एट द सेम टाइम इंग्लिश में भी प्रैक्टिस अपनी करते रहे आप।
हिंदी में बोलने में कोई डिमेरिट नहीं होता, मतलब हिंदी में भी अगर बोलें तो चल जाता है? ऐसा
बिल्कुल चलता है, पिछली बार हुआ है। अनलेस अनटिल कि सारे ग्रुप में अगर अंग्रेजी बोल रहे हैं और तुम फिर हिंदी में बोल रहे हो, थोड़ा सा ऑड लगता है और कुछ नहीं है।
ओके हाँ सर, मतलब जैसा चल रहा है उसी अकॉर्डिंग इंग्लिश चल रहा है तो ज्यादातर इंग्लिश में ही प्रेफर करना बेटर है। ठीक है,
पर हिंदी में अगर अच्छा बोल सकते हो तो बोल देना चाहिए, कोई ट्रबल नहीं है। हाँ जी।
और सर PSUs में भी जैसे आपने अभी मार्किंग में एक अपर लिमिट रखी थी, तो PSUs में भी वैसा कुछ रखते हैं कि अपर लिमिट इतना ही देंगे?
PSU में कुछ नहीं होता, वो मार्क्स देते हैं आपको, हाईएस्ट मार्क्स रखे होते हैं उन्होंने 10 है, 10 भी देंगे, नंबर देते हैं, वो काफी हाई नंबर भी देते हैं, और गैप भी डलता है उसमें, एलिमिनेट भी होता है बच्चा। एलिमिनेशन हर जगह होता है, कई जगह बताते हैं कई जगह नहीं बताते हैं, पर एलिमिनेशन होता है।
सर इतने पे एलिमिनेट
नहीं बोलेगा तो उसको लेंगे नहीं वो ऑब्वियसली।
तो सर इतना अगर हम बोले भी कंट्रीब्यूट करें तो भी मतलब एलिमिनेट कर देंगे वो?
नहीं, एलिमिनेशन इतना आसानी से नहीं करते हैं, एलिमिनेशन तब करते हैं बिल्कुल ही कम बोलोगे। अगर आप
हम बोल रहे हैं लेकिन मान लो बिल्कुल ही मैसअप हो गया,
हाँ जी,
उस टाइम पे हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन दिखा नहीं,
हाँ तो कर देंगे एलिमिनेट। सब तो एलिमिनेट करते ही हो।
ठीक है,
एलिमिनेट कर देते हैं फिर। हाँ जी
सर जैसे इसको कैसे इम्प्रूव करें? मतलब सर विनायक बहुत एग्रेसिव था सर, मैं बोलना भी चाहता था लेकिन मैं बोल नहीं पा रहा था। मतलब मैं सोचता हूँ कि जैसे वो बोल रहा है चलो बोलने दो सर,
उसको गले से पकड़ लेते हैं वहां हाथ निकाल के ऐसे।
सर जैसे मेरे को लगता है कि अगर सामने वाला बोल रहा है तो बोलने दो उसको, मतलब वैसे तो फिर
ये इनर्शिया तुम्हारा है, उसका तो इनर्शिया ऑफ मोशन है, तुम्हारा इनर्शिया ऑफ रेस्ट है। तुम्हें अपने
तो
इनर्शिया
सर
का रेस्ट तोड़ना है, उसका इनर्शिया मोशन तुम नहीं तोड़ पाओगे।
सर इसके लिए क्या करूं?
उसको बीच में काटना है बस। तुम बोलो ना विनायक, यस आई एग्री विद यू विनायक, विनायक आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन टू आस्क यू, विनायक आई वांट टू आस्क यू वन क्वेश्चन, क्वेश्चन पूछो उससे, तो विनायक चुप हो जाएगा। तुम उसको सपोर्ट करो, तुम उसको, मतलब तुम्हें काटना आना चाहिए किसी को जो बोल रहा है। और जो काटना, जो लोग काटते हैं बहुत फास्ट स्पीड पे काटते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है। वो आप बड़े आराम से बोल के भी किसी को रोक सकते हो। बहुत फास्ट पीस पे इस पे ही बोल के रोकना, वैसा नहीं होता। तुम उसको बड़े आराम से बोल सकते हो, जब वो बोल रहा है अपने फ्लो में है, तुम बोल सकते हो विनायक हैव अ क्वेश्चन टू आस्क यू, विनायक कैन आई आस्क यू क्वेश्चन, विनायक कैन आई आस्क यू क्वेश्चन, तो फिर विनायक बोला यस, तो फिर तुम अपना आराम से क्वेश्चन पूछो। जब तक तुम क्वेश्चन पूछोगे कोई डिस्टर्ब नहीं करेगा तुम्हें, और अच्छा सा क्वेश्चन उससे पूछो। फिर अगर वो क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं दे पा रहा है, तो सारे उसके जो नंबर थे फ्लो के तुम्हारी तरफ को आ जाते हैं। बट क्वेश्चन रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए, ये नहीं होना चाहिए कि ताजमहल किसने बनाया था, राइट? तो
ओके सर।
रेलिवेंट टू द टॉपिक यू आर डिस्कसिंग, ये चीज है। तो ऐसे बहुत से ट्रिक्स होते हैं तुम्हारे पास, जिनमें तुम कम बोल के बहुत इफेक्टिव नंबर ले जाते हो।
सर वो जो हम क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं उसका आंसर भी हमें ही मतलब उसका पता होना भी इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा, या फिर सिर्फ क्वेश्चन रख के भी हम आगे प्रोसीड कर सकते हैं?
एक्चुअली तो तुम्हें पता होना चाहिए उसका आंसर, लेकिन आपसे कोई ये नहीं पूछेगा कि ठीक है यू आस्क्ड अ क्वेश्चन और गिव द आंसर टू इट, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है। तो क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला एडवांटेज में होता है कि उसको आंसर नहीं देना होता उसका, कई बार he may not give the answers, he may not give answer, but obviously क्वेश्चन तुम वही पूछोगे तो तुम्हें थोड़ा सा आइडिया हो जिसका।
यस सर, हाँ मतलब सर बेसिक पता है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर हमें पूरा नहीं पता तो भी हम पूछ लें ऐसा करके, फिर जैसे इनपुट पे टाइप में
वो चीज होती है, राइट? प्रैक्टिस करो, इट ऑल इज अबाउट प्रैक्टिस एंड नॉलेज एनहांस करो। बहुत से टॉपिक्स ऐसे हैं जो पैनल पे पड़े हुए हैं YourPedia पे आपके जीडी के, उनको प्रैक्टिस करो एंड देन कीप प्रैक्टिसिंग विद मी। देयर इज नो लिमिट ऑफ जीडी सेशंस, लेकिन एज पर माय नॉलेज बच्चे आते नहीं है। अभी हमने देना स्टार्ट किया जीडी का सेशन, तो उसमें प्रेजेंस अपने मेंटेन करो। शिवानी मैम शेड्यूल्स करेंगे आपके जीडीज के लिए, उनमें पार्टिसिपेट करना स्टार्ट करो। जितनी यार प्रैक्टिस करोगे उतना तुम्हारा ये कॉन्फिडेंस खुलेगा। दीज थिंग्स आर रिलेटेड टू प्रैक्टिस। बोल बोल के तुम परफेक्ट हो जाते हो। जितना तुम बोलोगे, जितना तुम जीडी में पार्टिसिपेट करोगे, सोचने का तरीका, दूसरों से सीखो, अपना असेसमेंट करो। वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग दीज सेशंस ओनली बिकॉज यू कैन डू योर सेल्फ एनालिसिस। एंड जो बच्चा सीरियसली चीजों को लेता है वो निकाल ले जाता है। मेरा पिछले इतने सालों की टीचिंग का यही एक्सपीरियंस है कि जो बच्चा सीरियसली लेगा चीजों को, वो निकाल ले जाएगा, वो आगे निकल जाता है। जो कैजुअली लेगा वो नहीं निकालेगा। जो कोई चीज को कैजुअली लेगा, जैसे टीचर ने बोला कि पैनल के ऊपर कंटेंट पढ़ा है, उसको देख लो इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक। अब मैं तो एक बार ये चीज बोलूंगा, फिर मैं चेक थोड़ी करूंगा तुमने देखा नहीं देखा, क्या किया तुमने, मैं उसको ऑब्जर्व नहीं कर रहा हूँ। एंड इफ आई एम नॉट ऑब्जर्विंग, तो यू मे डू इट, यू मे नॉट डू इट। इफ यू डोंट डू इट, देन यू मे नॉट लर्न इट। सो यहाँ से जो डिफरेंस अब क्रिएट होता है ना, वो डिफरेंस इंडिविजुअल एफर्ट के ऊपर क्रिएट हो जाता है। दोज हु विल बी डूइंग वेरी गुड एफर्ट, दे विल टेक इट फॉरवर्ड नाउ। दोज हु डू नॉट डू, दे विल नॉट टेक इट फॉरवर्ड। तो कीप पुशिंग द थिंग्स फॉरवर्ड। तैयारी करो, पूरी एफर्ट लगाओ यार, दबा के अच्छे तरीके से मेहनत करो और प्रैक्टिस करो मेरे साथ, राइट? चलो, थैंक्स अ लॉट देन एंड